right, so you've poured your heart into building this amazing startup, and now it's time for the real test. Getting those first customers on board.
Yeah.
It's a challenge every founder faces. And today we're diving deep on a strategy that honestly still works wonders.
Okay.
Cold emailing. I know you're probably thinking it's so old school,
Right.
but trust me, when done right, cold emailing is a direct line to the people you need to reach.
It really is. And what's so fascinating about cold emailing is it cuts through the noise of all the other marketing channels. You're not
Right.
relying on algorithms or hoping people stumble across your content.
Right.
You're strategically reaching out to the decision makers who can actually make a difference.
Exactly. It's like taking control of your destiny, right? But it's not about blasting out generic messages to a random list. This is where things get interesting.
Right.
It's all about understanding your ideal customer profile to a level that almost feels like you're reading their minds.
Yeah. It's like, think of it this way. You wouldn't use the same pickup line on everyone you meet, right?
Right.
The same goes for your customers. Your messaging needs to resonate with their specific needs and pain points.
So it's like tailoring a bespoke suit. Each email is crafted specifically for the person you're trying to reach.
Exactly.
All right, so let's say we've nailed down our ICP. What's the next step in this cold emailing quest?
The subject line is your first impression. It's the gatekeeper to your entire email.
Right.
If it doesn't grab their attention, they'll never even open it. And let's be real, we've all seen those subject lines that just make us want to run for the hills.
Oh, absolutely. I've got my fair share of those.
Generic, spammy, all caps, those are instant delete triggers.
Yeah. So how do we write subject lines that actually get people intrigued, make them want to click?
Keep it short, concise, personalized.
Yeah.
Instead of something generic like revolutionize your marketing, try something like how competitor boosted conversions by 30%, a similar strategy for their company. It piques their curiosity, it uses social proof, and shows you've done your homework.
Ooh, that's good. I actually want to read that email now.
Yeah.
Okay, they're hooked. They open the email. How do we keep them engaged and actually reading the entire thing?
This is where the art of concise and valuable writing comes in. People are busy, they're drowning in emails, so get straight to the point. Your opening line should be like a punch to the gut in a good way, of course.
No rambling allowed.
Exactly. You have to hook them in the first few sentences. And again, personalization is key.
Good.
Mention something specific you've noticed about their company or their work, something like, I saw their company recently launched a new product line, and I think our solution could help you specific benefit related to their product launch.
Okay, I'm seeing a theme here. Personalization is king. It's not just about inserting their name. It's about showing genuine interest and understanding.
Right.
But what about the actual pitch? How do we present our product or service without overwhelming them?
Focus on the benefits, not just the features. Instead of listing what your product does, tell them what it does for them. How will it solve their specific problems, make their lives easier, or help them achieve their goals? Paint a picture of how their world will be better with your solution in it.
So instead of saying, our software automates email marketing, we might say, imagine spending less time on tedious tasks and more time focusing on strategic initiatives. That's what our software can do for you.
Precisely, make it personal, make it relatable, and show them the value they'll get. But remember, even the most brilliant email won't convert everyone you need to guide them towards the next step. That's where the call to action, or CTA, comes in.
This is the, all right, I'm interested, what now, Mo?
Exactly. Your CTA should be clear, concise, and low friction. A simple question like, would you be open to a quick 15-minute call to discuss how we can help their company achieve specific goal? Works wonders.
Okay.
It's non-pushy, yet invites further engagement.
And of course, make it easy for them to take action, include a link to your calendar or a booking page so they don't have to jump through hoops. But what happens when they don't respond immediately?
That's where the follow-up comes in. It's rare for someone to convert on the first email, so don't get discouraged if you don't hear back right away.
Right.
This is where most people give up, but this is where you have a chance to stand out from the crowd.
So persistence is key. But how do we follow up without being annoying or pushy?
Think of your follow-up emails as mini value bombs. You're not just reminding them that you exist. You're offering something additional, a case study, a relevant article, a personalized tip, or even just a friendly check-in.
I love that you're building on the initial connection and showing that you're genuinely invested in helping them, not just closing a deal. But let's be real, even with the best follow-up strategy, not everyone is going to convert.
That's true. But even if someone doesn't become a customer right away, you've planted a seed. You've introduced yourself and your company, and you've hopefully left a positive impression. You never know when they might circle back or who they might refer you to down the road.
So cold emailing is a long game.
Mm-hmm.
It's about nurturing relationships, building trust, and positioning yourself as a valuable resource.
Exactly.
And sometimes that takes time, but how do we know if our cold emails are actually working?
Right.
Is it all about gut feeling, or are there specific metrics we should be tracking?
You absolutely need to track your metrics.
Okay.
Open rates, reply rates, click-through rates, these are all valuable insights into how your emails are performing. And remember, A/B testing is your best friend. Try different subject lines, email copy, and CTAs to see what resonates best with your audience.
I've heard that timing can also play a role. Should we be sending emails at certain times of day or week?
That's a great point. Experiment with different send times to see when your audience is most likely to engage. It might be early mornings, late afternoons, or even weekends. You have to find that sweet spot for your specific target market.
It's all about understanding their habits and preferences, just like we talked about with the ICP. Now, sending personalized cold emails can be incredibly time-consuming, especially if you're targeting a large number of people,
Right.
like hundreds or even thousands.
That's where automation tools come in. Platforms like Mailshake, Lemlist, and Woodpecker allow you to send personalized mass emails, automate follow-ups, and track your results. They're game changers for anyone serious about cold outreach.
Okay, that sounds amazing. So you can personalize emails to hundreds of people without having to manually type out each one.
Exactly.
But isn't there a risk of coming across as robotic or impersonal when using automation?
There's definitely a fine line to walk. It's crucial to use these tools strategically and ensure your emails still feel personal and authentic.
So it's not about replacing human interaction,
Right.
but about amplifying it. Using automation to make our outreach more efficient and impactful, but still maintaining that personal touch.
Exactly. And speaking of personal touch, don't forget about the bigger picture, building relationships. Cold emailing isn't just about making a sale right away. It's about starting a conversation, establishing yourself as a valuable resource, and nurturing those connections over time.
It's about playing the long game and creating a foundation for lasting relationships. And honestly, that's something that can benefit any business, regardless of its size or industry.
Absolutely, and that's what makes cold emailing such a powerful tool. It's not just about acquiring customers, it's about building a community of loyal supporters and advocates who believe in what you do.
So what I'm hearing is cold emailing is still a relevant and powerful tool for startups, but it's all about approaching it strategically, focusing on personalization, and genuinely wanting to help people.
Exactly. And it's a skill you can continually refine and improve over time.
I'm so glad we dove deep into this today. It's given me a whole new perspective on cold emailing and how to approach it effectively. But before we move on to some even more advanced strategies,
Yeah.
I want you to think about this. What's one small tweak you could make to your cold email strategy today, based on what we've discussed so far? Maybe it's revisiting your ICP, spicing up your subject lines, or adding a more personalized touch to your opening line. Even a small change can make a big difference.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't have to be a complete overhaul. But speaking of mistakes, I'm curious, what are some of the biggest blunders people make with cold emailing? You know, the things that make you hit that delete button faster than you can say unsubscribe.
Oh, I'm sure we've all been there.
One of the most common mistakes is treating cold emailing like a spray and pray tactic. You know,
Right.
blasting out generic messages to a massive list without any thought or personalization. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like throwing spaghetti at that wall and hoping something sticks. But what about the opposite end of the spectrum? Is it possible to go too far with personalization? I've received emails that mention very specific details about my online activity, and honestly, it felt a little creepy.
Yeah, you've hit on a crucial point. While personalization is key, there's a fine line between showing genuine interest and being overly intrusive. Referencing a recent blog post or a social media comment can be effective,
Yeah.
but digging too deep into someone's personal life can backfire.
So it's all about finding that sweet spot, showing you've done your research without making them feel like they're under a microscope. What are some other common pitfalls to avoid?
Another mistake is being too self-centered in your emails. It's easy to fall into the trap of talking about yourself and your product nonstop.
Right.
But remember, people are inherently self-interested
Yeah.
and want to know what's in it for them.
It's like going on a date and only talking about yourself. Not exactly a recipe for a second date.
Exactly. So focus on how your product or service can benefit them, address their specific pain points, highlight the positive outcomes they can expect, and make it all about how you can help them achieve their goals.
So it's all about shifting the focus from me to you, make them the hero of the story.
Precisely. And here's a simple yet crucial tip. Proofread your emails. Like your life depends on it.
Oh, yeah.
Typos and grammatical errors that can make you look unprofessional and careless.
It's like showing up to a job interview with a coffee stain on your shirt. It sends the wrong message.
Exactly. Always take the time to review your emails thoroughly, or better yet, have a fresh pair of eyes, give them a once-over. And while we're talking about first impressions, don't forget about your email signature.
Ah, yes, the digital handshake.
Yes.
It's easy to overlook, but it's an opportunity to make a lasting impression.
Think of it as your virtual business card. It should be clean, professional, and provide all the essential information: your name, title, company website, social media links, anything that helps them connect with you further.
And on that note, let's talk about the etiquette of cold emailing. It's not just about writing a killer email. It's about being respectful of people's time and inboxes.
Absolutely. Transparency is key. Be upfront about who you are and why you're reaching out.
Right.
Don't try to disguise your intentions or trick people into opening your email.
Honesty is always the best policy, especially when it comes to building trust.
Exactly. And speaking of respect, be mindful of time zones. No one wants to receive a sales pitch at 3 a.m. It's intrusive and shows a lack of consideration.
It's like calling someone during dinner a major faux pas.
Exactly. So do your research, understand your audience's location, and time your emails accordingly. And while you're at it, make sure your emails are relevant to the recipient. Don't just add people to your list willy-nilly, quality over quantity, right?
Right.
Your emails should be targeted and tailored to the specific needs and interests of your audience, and avoid bombarding people with too many emails.
No one wants to feel like they're being stalked by their inbox.
Exactly. Give people space, respect their decisions, and always provide a clear and easy way to unsubscribe.
It's not only the right thing to do, it also helps you maintain a clean and engaged email list. Now, we've talked a lot about the tactical side of cold emailing, but how do we measure success? Is it all about open rates and clicks, or is there more to it?
While open and click-through rates are important indicators, they don't tell the whole story. Ultimately, you want to track your conversion rate.
Okay.
How many people are taking that desired action, whether that's booking a call, requesting a demo, or making a purchase?
That's the bottom line, right? Turning those email opens into actual customers.
Exactly. And to improve your conversion rates, you need to look beyond the email itself and analyze the entire customer journey.
So it's like being a detective following the trail of clues to see where people are dropping off and identifying areas for improvement.
Precisely. Maybe your landing page isn't optimized for conversions, or your pricing doesn't align with the value you're offering, or your sales team isn't following up effectively.
It's a chain reaction,
Yeah.
and every link needs to be strong.
Exactly. So don't just focus on sending emails and hoping for the best. Create a seamless and engaging experience for your prospects from start to finish.
All right, so we've covered the basics, the mistakes to avoid, and the importance of tracking the right metrics. Now I'm ready to level up. What are some advanced strategies for taking our cold emailing to the next level?
One powerful strategy is to leverage the art of storytelling. People are naturally drawn to narratives, and stories can be a powerful way to connect with your audience on an emotional level.
So instead of just listing features and benefits, you're weaving a compelling narrative that resonates with their needs and aspirations.
Exactly. For example, you could share a customer success story highlighting how your product or service helps someone overcome a challenge similar to what your recipient is facing.
It's social proof in action, a real-life example of how your solution delivers results.
Precisely. And you know what else can cut through the clutter and make your emails more memorable? Humor.
Oh, I love a good laugh. But of course, we need to be careful with humor. It can easily backfire if it's not appropriate or relevant.
Absolutely. It's about finding the right balance and using humor strategically to make your emails more engaging and personable.
So a well-placed joke or witty remark can go a long way.
Hmm.
What are some other ways to make our emails stand out?
Don't underestimate the power of visuals. Adding images, videos, or even GIFs can make your emails more engaging and help you convey information more effectively.
They say a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Exactly. For example, you could include a screenshot of your product in action or a short video testimonial from a satisfied customer.
Those visuals can really bring your message to life. And speaking of social proof, I've noticed that mentioning testimonials or case studies in my emails seems to boost credibility.
You're absolutely right. People are more likely to trust recommendations from others, especially if those recommendations come from people they admire or identify with.
So sprinkle in some testimonials, case studies, or social media mentions to add weight to your claims.
Exactly. And here's the most exciting part. Don't be afraid to experiment. Break free from the traditional email template and try something new.
Think outside the inbox.
Exactly. You could send a personalized video email, create an interactive quiz, or offer a free consultation.
The possibilities are endless. It's all about finding what works best for your brand and your audience. Now let's shift gears and talk about something that's often overlooked, the legal and ethical considerations of cold emailing. It's crucial to stay on the right side of the law and avoid any practices that could damage your reputation.
Absolutely. One of the most important things to keep in mind is the CAN-SPAM Act. This law sets guidelines for commercial email, including requirements for subject lines, opt-out mechanisms, and sender identification.
So no misleading subject lines or hiding our identity.
Exactly. And if you're sending emails to people in Europe, you also need to comply with the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR.
This regulation is all about protecting the personal data of individuals.
Precisely. It requires you to obtain explicit consent from people before sending them marketing emails and to provide them with clear information about how their data will be used.
So no more adding people to our email list without their permission. We need to be transparent and respectful.
Exactly. And it's not just about the law, it's also about being ethical and respectful of people's privacy.
Don't be spammy, don't be pushy, and always give people an easy way to opt out of your emails.
Absolutely. Building trust is essential for any successful business, and that includes respecting people's inboxes.
This has been an incredibly informative deep dive into the world of cold emailing.
It really has.
We've covered a lot of ground, from crafting compelling emails to navigating the legal landscape.
And we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore and experiment with when it comes to cold outreach.
But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to challenge you to think about one specific action you can take to improve your cold email strategy. It could be something as simple as, like testing a new subject line or adding more personalization to your emails, or maybe even exploring a new automation tool.
Exactly. And don't forget to track your results so you can see what's working and what's not. But beyond the tactics and the metrics, I think the most important thing is the mindset you bring to cold emailing. It can be tough, especially in the beginning when you're facing rejection.
Oh yeah, I can definitely relate to that. It's like putting your heart and soul into something and then just waiting for the world to judge it. It can be nerve-wracking.
That's why resilience is so crucial. You have to view every no, not as a failure, but as a learning opportunity. Each rejection brings you one step closer to a yes.
It's like Thomas Edison famously said, "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work."
Exactly. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. Every successful entrepreneur has faced rejection at some point. It's part of the process.
So it's about embracing the challenge and, developing that thick skin.
Precisely. But it's not just about toughness. Approach cold emailing with a spirit of generosity. Think about what you can give, not just what you can get.
So instead of just pitching our product or service, we should focus on providing value, maybe sharing helpful resources or offering insights that can benefit the recipient.
Exactly. When you approach cold emailing with a genuine desire to help others, it shows. People are more likely to respond positively to someone who is authentic and helpful, rather than someone who is just trying to close a deal.
It's about building relationships, not just making transactions.
Precisely. And those relationships can lead to long-term customers, referrals, and even partnerships.
So cold emailing, when done right, can be a powerful engine for growth, not just for our customer base, but for our network and our impact as well.
Absolutely. It's a channel that every startup should be leveraging.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. We've covered everything from crafting compelling emails to navigating the legal and ethical considerations, and most importantly, we've explored the mindset and the heart behind successful cold emailing. Before we wrap up, I have one final question for you. What's one piece of advice you would give to someone who is just starting out with cold emailing?
Don't be afraid to experiment. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to cold emailing. What works for one person might not work for another.
So try different things, track your results, and see what resonates best with your specific target audience.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to break the rules. Sometimes the most effective cold emails are the ones that are unconventional and unexpected.
Think outside the inbox.
Absolutely. And most importantly, have fun with it. Cold emailing can be a challenging but rewarding process. When you approach it with a positive attitude and a willingness to learn, you'll be amazed at the results you can achieve.
This has been a fantastic deep dive into the world of cold emailing. We've covered so much ground today, and I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to take your outreach to the next level. Remember, even small changes can make a big difference. So go out there, experiment, and see what happens. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.